I've always had a taste for women like you now. I could spend all night just tasting that
Part 2.
exoticness.
Black girl texted her best friend in a wrong date. Sent to wrong number. Korean mafia replied.
This date is over, and I'm here to take her.
Coming. You really thought I'd just disappear after you humiliated me? Evan's voice was eerily calm as he cornered Zara in the empty showroom. I told you I know people in this city. Zara stood her ground, chin raised. And I told you to leave me alone. Evan stepped closer, his expensive cologne suffocating. I've always had a taste for women like you. No, I could spend all night just tasting that. The door crashed open. Jinho stood there, eyes dark with controlled rage. She's under my protection. Walk away while you still can. Evan smiled. Protection? You think that matters to me? No, Zara said, moving to stand beside Jinho. But it should. 3 months earlier, Zara stood in her new studio space, surrounded by fabric swatches and design sketches. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the space that still felt like a dream. After her successful fashion show, Barnett's, one of the city's most prestigious department stores, had offered her a dedicated section for her sustainable fashion line. I still can't believe this is happening, she told Maya, who was sprawled on the new leather couch Jinho had insisted on buying for the studio. Believe it, Maya said, scrolling through her phone. Your Instagram following has tripled since the show. People are obsessed with your designs. Zara ran her fingers over a bolt of bamboo silk. I need to finalize the expanded collection for Barnett's in 6 weeks. I'm not sure I can pull it off. You can, came a deep voice from the doorway. Jinho stood there, holding a takeout bag from her favorite Thai place. But not if you skip lunch again. Zara's face lit up at the sight of her fiancé. The black diamond engagement ring caught the light as she crossed the room to greet him. My hero. Always, he replied, kissing her softly before nodding to Maya. Brought enough for 3. This is why I approved of you, Maya said, closing her laptop. Food bribery works. As they ate, Jinho mentioned an upcoming industry event. The International Fashion Alliance dinner is next week. It would be good for you to attend, make connections for your expansion plans. I wasn't invited, Zara said between bites of pad thai. You are now, Jinho replied. I made some calls. Maya raised an eyebrow. By made some calls, do you mean legitimate business networking or the other kind? Jinho's mouth quirked. Completely legitimate. The Park family owns shares in several fashion distribution companies. It was a simple request. Zara touched his hand. Thank you, but I want to make sure I'm earning these opportunities. You are, he assured her. I'm just opening doors. Your talent is what will keep them open. The night of the Fashion Alliance dinner, Zara wore one of her own designs, a sleek jumpsuit in deep emerald that complemented her skin tone perfectly. Jinho, impeccable in a black suit, watched her with undisguised admiration as they entered the ballroom of the Grand Meridian Hotel. Everyone's staring at you, he murmured. They're staring at us, she corrected. The fashion designer and the mysterious businessman. He smiled. I prefer your fiancé to mysterious businessman. The evening progressed smoothly. Zara connected with buyers from Europe and Asia, exchanged cards with influential fashion bloggers, and even had a promising conversation with the editor of Style Quarterly about a feature spread. Your designs are extraordinary, the editor said. The way you blend sustainability with accessibility is exactly what the industry needs. As Zara thanked her, she noticed Jinho across the room, his posture suddenly rigid. Following his gaze, she saw a man approaching tall, expensively dressed, with a confidence that bordered on arrogance. Evan, she whispered, her stomach dropping. But it wasn't Evan. As the man drew closer, she realized he was a stranger, though something in his bearing reminded her of Jinho. The same controlled power, the same watchful eyes. Jinho moved to her side immediately, his hand finding the small of her back. James, he said, his voice neutral. I didn't expect to see you here. Likewise, the man replied, his eyes sliding to Zara with interest. Though I understand the attraction now. Zara Williams, this is James Cho. We have Business history. James extended his hand. The rising star of sustainable fashion. Your show was impressive. Thank you, Zara replied, shaking his hand briefly. Something about his grip, too firm, too lingering, set off warning bells. The Cho and Park families have known each other for generations, James explained, his eyes never leaving Zara's face. Though known might be too gentle a word. This isn't the place, James, Jinho said quietly. James smiled, all teeth and no warmth. Of course not. I was merely introducing myself to your fiancé. The ring is exquisite. Black diamonds are so unusual, like your taste in business partners, Ms. Williams. After he walked away, Zara turned to Jinho. What was that about? Old rivalries, he said, his eyes still following James across the room. The Cho family controls much of the fashion distribution in Asia. They've been trying to expand into our territory for years. And by territory, you mean everything, Jinho said simply. Business, influence, respect. Later that night, as they drove home, Zara asked, should I be worried about James Cho? Jinho was quiet for a moment. Not worried, but cautious. The Chos operate differently than we do. Less honor, more opportunism. He seemed very interested in my work. He's interested in anything that might give him leverage against my family, Jinho corrected. Just be careful if he approaches you. 2 days later, James Cho did exactly that. Zara was reviewing fabric samples when her assistant announced a visitor. Mr. Cho says he has a business proposition, Jaden said, clearly impressed by the man's designer suit and commanding presence. James entered with the confidence of someone used to getting what he wanted. Ms. Williams, I hope I'm not interrupting. I'm quite busy, Mr. Cho, Zara replied, remaining seated. What can I do for you? It's what I can do for you, he said, placing a sleek portfolio on her desk. The Cho Group has exclusive distribution channels throughout Asia. We can put your designs in high-end stores from Seoul to Singapore within 3 months. Despite herself, Zara was intrigued. Asia was a market she'd been eager to enter but hadn't found the right partner. Why would you offer this to me? James smiled. Your aesthetic would resonate with our clientele. Sustainable luxury is growing exponentially in Asian markets. And it has nothing to do with my relationship with Jinho Park? Business is business, Ms. Williams. Personal relationships are separate concerns. Zara opened the portfolio. The proposal was impressive, detailed market analysis, projected sales figures, promotional strategies. This is comprehensive. We're thorough, James said. Unlike some, we believe in transparent business practices. The implication wasn't subtle. I'll need time to review this. Of course, we're hosting a reception for designers next week at our showroom. Perhaps you could give me your answer then. He handed her an embossed invitation. Bring Park if you wish, though these events can be tense when certain families attend simultaneously. After he left, Zara called Jinho immediately. He offered you distribution? Jinho's voice was carefully controlled. Yes, the proposal looks legitimate. It always does with the Chos, until they have what they want. That evening, over dinner at Jinho's penthouse, he explained further. 3 years ago, the Chos approached a promising jewelry designer with a similar offer. 6 months later, knockoffs of her designs were flooding the market. She lost everything. That's terrible, Zara said. But surely there were legal options? The copies were just different enough to skirt intellectual property laws. And the Chos have excellent lawyers. Jinho set down his chopsticks. James isn't interested in your designs, Zara. He's interested in hurting me through you. So I should just reject the offer outright? I would never tell you how to run your business, Jinho said carefully. But I would ask you to research thoroughly before making any decisions. Zara nodded. I'll look into their history with other designers. Thank you. He reached across the table for her hand. I don't want to control your choices. I just want to protect you. I know the difference, she assured him. Over the next week, Zara dug into the Cho Group's business practices. What she found was disturbing. 3 designers had filed complaints about contract violations. Two had gone bankrupt after partnering with the Chos. One had left the industry entirely. She decided to attend the Cho reception, not to accept their offer, but to understand her potential adversary better. Jinho insisted on accompanying her. "Just promise me you won't start an international incident," she said as they dressed. "I'll be on my best behavior," he promised, adjusting his tie. Unless provoked. The Cho showroom occupied the top floor of a gleaming downtown skyscraper. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered panoramic city views, and minimalist decor showcased clothing from designers who had partnered with the group. James greeted them at the entrance, his smile not reaching his eyes. "Ms. Williams, Mr. Park. I'm delighted you both could attend. Your invitation was too intriguing to refuse," Zara replied. As they circulated, Jinho kept a protective distance, close enough to intervene if needed, far enough to let Zara handle her business. She appreciated the balance he struck. A young designer approached her, champagne in hand. "You're Zara Williams, right? The sustainable fashion line?" "Yes," Zara smiled. "And you are?" "Lin Chen. I signed with the Chos last year." She glanced around nervously. "Can we talk somewhere private?" Intrigued, Zara followed her to a quiet corner. Lin's expression was tense. "Be careful with them. They changed my contract after I signed. Claimed market adjustments required new terms." "What happened?" "They own my designs now. All of them. Even my future work for the next 5 years." Lin's voice trembled. "I can't even use my own name on new collections." Before Zara could respond, James appeared beside them. "Lin, I believe your presence is requested by the buyers from Shanghai." Lin's face paled. "Of course. Excuse me." James watched her leave before turning to Zara. "Have you considered our offer?" "I have," Zara said carefully. "It's very generous. But," his eyes narrowed, "but I have concerns about your history with other designers." James's smile tightened. "Business is complex, Ms. Williams. Not everyone has the vision or flexibility to succeed in international markets. Or perhaps not everyone is willing to sacrifice their integrity," Zara countered. A bold statement from someone partnered with a park. James stepped closer. "Has he told you about his family's methods? The businesses they've destroyed? The people who've disappeared after crossing them?" "I know exactly who Jinho is," Zara said firmly. "Do you?" James's voice dropped. "Ask him about the Hanwoo incident. Ask him what happened to my cousin when he refused to sell his property to the parks." Before she could respond, Jinho appeared at her side. "Everything all right?" The tension between the two men was palpable. James smiled thinly. "Just discussing business practices. Family traditions. Some traditions need to evolve," Jinho replied. "Others should be respected." "Indeed." James nodded to Zara. "Consider my offer, Ms. Williams. Unlike some, we put everything in writing." As they drove home, Zara was quiet, turning James's words over in her mind. Finally, she asked, "What's the Hanwoo incident?" Jinho's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "James mentioned it?" "Yes," he sighed. 5 years ago, before I started changing our business approach, there was a property dispute. A restaurant called Hanwoo stood where we wanted to build a hotel. The owner refused to sell. What happened? My father's methods were persuasive. The man eventually sold, but not before things became unpleasant. Unpleasant how? Jinho pulled the car over, turning to face her fully. "I won't lie to you, Zara. There were threats, property damage. The owner was James's cousin, and he still blames our family for the man's subsequent financial ruin. Were you involved?" "I delivered the final offer," Jinho admitted. "It wasn't a request." Zara absorbed this. "Thank you for being honest." "Always," he said, "even when it's difficult. I'm not that person anymore, but I can't erase my past." "I don't expect you to," she said, taking his hand. "I just need to know who I'm marrying. All of you, not just the parts that are easy to accept." 2 weeks later, Zara was preparing for her expanded collection launch at Barnett's when disaster struck. The fabric shipment from her sustainable supplier in Indonesia, materials she'd spent months sourcing, never arrived. The shipping company claims it was never loaded, Jaden reported, panic in his voice. The launch is in 3 weeks. Zara tried to remain calm. Contact alternate suppliers. See if we can expedite a new order. But as she made calls, she hit wall after wall. No one could deliver the quantities she needed in time. It was as if someone had systematically blocked every avenue. That evening, she received an email from James Cho. I hear you're experiencing supply chain issues. The Cho Group could resolve these problems immediately. My offer still stands. Zara showed the email to Jinho, who was unsurprised. Classic Cho tactics. Create a problem, then offer the solution with strings attached. You think he interfered with my shipment? I know he did, Jinho said, his expression darkening. Let me handle this. No, Zara said firmly. Not your way. Zara. I mean it, Jinho. I won't build my business on intimidation, even when I'm the one being intimidated. He studied her face, then nodded slowly. What's your plan? I'm going to beat him at his own game, legitimately. The next morning, Zara called an emergency meeting with her team. We're pivoting, she announced. New materials, new designs, new approach. In 3 weeks, Jaden looked horrified. In 3 weeks, Zara confirmed. We'll use domestic suppliers only. Recycled materials, upcycled vintage fabrics. We'll make the supply chain disruption part of our story. How sustainable fashion means adapting, being resourceful. For the next 20 days, Zara's studio operated around the clock. Designers, seamstresses, and pattern makers worked in shifts. Jinho provided connections to local suppliers, but otherwise stayed in the background, respecting her need to solve this her way. The night before the launch, Zara received another message from James. Last chance. Partner with us, or tomorrow will be disappointing. She didn't respond. The Barnett's launch event was packed with press, influencers, and industry insiders. Zara's redesigned collection, created under impossible deadlines with resourcefulness and determination, was displayed prominently in the store's main atrium. As she prepared to address the crowd, she spotted James Cho at the back of the room, watching with calculated interest. Beside him stood a man she recognized immediately, Evan, her disastrous date from months ago. Jinho noticed them too, his body tensing. Interesting partnership, he murmured. Stay calm, Zara whispered. This is my moment. She stepped to the microphone, smiling confidently. Welcome to the launch of ZW Sustainable's expanded collection. Some of you may have heard we face challenges with our international supply chain. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. But sustainable fashion isn't just about materials. It's about adaptability, resourcefulness, and community. Every piece you see today was created using domestically sourced, recycled, or upcycled materials. Every garment tells a story of resilience. The presentation was a triumph. Buyers placed orders on the spot. Fashion bloggers posted live from the event. Even the Skeptical Style quarterly editor was impressed by the collection's innovative approach to sustainability. As the crowd dispersed, James approached, Evan trailing behind him. Impressive recovery, Ms. Williams. Thank you, Zara replied coolly, though I'm curious about your new associate. Evan smirked. Small world, isn't it? Mr. Whitaker has been sharing some interesting insights about you, James said, and about your fiancé's methods of persuasion. Jinho stepped forward. This isn't the place, Cho. On the contrary, James replied. A public venue seems safest for certain conversations. Zara touched Jinho's arm. We're celebrating a successful launch. Let's keep it that way. James nodded, a cold smile playing on his lips. Congratulations on your resourcefulness. Though I wonder how long you can sustain success without proper distribution channels. I'll manage, Zara assured him. Now if you'll excuse us, we have guests to attend to. As James and Evan walked away, Jinho's expression darkened. The Chas allying with your ex-date is a concerning development. Evan's harmless, Zara said. Just a man with a bruised ego. No one aligned with the Chas is harmless, Jinho warned. Be vigilant. Despite the launch success, the following weeks brought new challenges. A prominent fashion blogger published a scathing review questioning the authenticity of Zara's sustainability claims. 2 major orders were mysteriously cancelled. The pattern was clear. Someone was systematically undermining her business. "It's the Chas," Jinho said as Zara paced their apartment. Another cancellation email in hand. "Let me handle this my way." "No," Zara insisted. "Violence only escalates violence. There has to be another solution." Jinho ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident. "You don't understand what they're capable of." "Then help me understand," she said. "Not just with words. Show me your world, all of it." The next evening, Jinho took Zara to the heart of the city's Korean district. They bypassed the tourist-friendly restaurants and shops, heading to a nondescript building with no signage. Inside, they descended a flight of stairs to a basement space that hummed with quiet activity. Men and women sat at tables, some playing traditional Korean games, others in hushed conversation. All paused when Jinho entered, bowing respectfully before resuming their activities. "This is John Grow," Jinho explained quietly, "a traditional gathering place for community elders and business leaders. My grandfather established this 150 years ago." An elderly man approached, his back straight despite his years. "Young Park," he said in Korean, then nodded to Zara. "You bring your chosen one." "Elder Kim, this is Zara Williams, my fiancée," Jinho replied in English. "Zara, Elder Kim was my grandfather's closest advisor." The old man studied Zara with keen eyes. "She has strength in her face. Good. You will need it." They were led to a private room where several older Korean men and women were already seated around a low table. Tea was served as Jinho introduced Zara to each person: community leaders, business owners, and family associates, all with decades-long connections to the parks. "The Cho problem must be addressed," one woman stated bluntly after pleasantries were exchanged. "They dishonor old agreements. They target your woman's business," another added. "This is personal challenge." Jinho nodded. "Yes, but Zara wishes to handle this without traditional methods." The elders exchanged glances. Elder Kim leaned forward. "Young lady, in our community, respect is everything. The Chas show disrespect. This cannot stand." "I understand," Zara said carefully. "But in my business, reputation is everything. I can't build a sustainable brand on unsustainable methods." "Wise words," an elderly woman nodded. "But how will you protect what you build?" "By being smarter," Zara replied. "By understanding my enemy and using their methods against them, legally." The conversation continued for hours, shifting between English and Korean. Zara listened as the elders recounted the history between the Park and Cho families, decades of territorial disputes, business rivalries, and occasional violence. As they left, Elder Kim took Zara's hands in his. "You bring new thinking to old problems. This is good. But remember, some traditions exist because they work." In the car, Zara was quiet, processing everything she'd learned. "Thank you for showing me that," she finally said. "Are you reconsidering your approach?" Jinho asked. "No," she said firmly, "but I understand yours better now." 2 days later, Zara received an invitation to speak at Seoul Fashion Week, a prestigious opportunity that could open Asian markets without the Chas involvement. Jinho was suspicious of the timing but supported her decision to accept. "I'll come with you," he said. "It's time you met my extended family anyway." Seoul was a revelation, a vibrant metropolis where ancient temples stood in the shadows of gleaming skyscrapers. Jinho's family home was in Gangnam, an elegant modern house with traditional elements. His grandmother, a tiny woman with piercing eyes, greeted them at the door. "So this is the American girl," she said in Korean, which Jinho translated. Her expression was unreadable as she circled Zara, examining her from head to toe. "Grandmother," Jinho began, but the old woman waved him silent. "You love my grandson?" she asked through Jinho. "Yes," Zara replied, meeting her gaze steadily. "Very much." "You will have beautiful children," the old woman declared, then broke into a wide smile. "Come eat. You're too thin." Over the next few days, Zara met cousins, aunts, uncles, an extended family network that operated like a small corporation. Some were warm and welcoming. Others were clearly skeptical of their heir's American fiancé. Don't take it personally, Sumin advised as they prepared for a family dinner. They're protective of Jinho. He's the future of the family. And they don't think I fit into that future, Zara guessed. They don't know you yet, Sumin replied. Show them who you are. The dinner was formal, with multiple courses of traditional Korean dishes. Conversation flowed in a mix of English and Korean, with Jinho translating when necessary. Zara had been studying basic phrases and used them when appropriate, earning approving nods from the elders. As the meal progressed, Jinho's uncle turned the conversation to business. The Chas attended the trade minister's dinner last week, he said in Korean, which Jinho translated. They spoke of expanding their fashion distribution. They've approached Zara's company, Jinho replied. The uncle's eyebrows rose. And I declined, Zara said in careful Korean, surprising the table. She continued in English. Their business practices don't align with my values. The Chas have no values, Jinho's grandmother stated flatly. Only ambitions. Later that night, as they prepared for bed in Jinho's childhood room, Zara asked, Will your family ever truly accept me? They already respect you, Jinho said, pulling her close. Acceptance will come with time. And if it doesn't, then we build our own traditions, he said simply. Our own family. The morning of her Seoul Fashion Week presentation, Zara woke to disturbing news. The venue had reported a water leak near her assigned space, requiring her to relocate to a smaller, less prominent area. Then her translator called in sick. Finally, the special lighting she'd arranged was accidentally dismantled. The Chas, Jinho said grimly. They have influence with the event organizers. I won't let them win, Zara declared, quickly revising her presentation strategy. Despite the setbacks, her collection was well received. Korean fashion media praised her innovative designs and commitment to sustainability. Buyers from Japan, Singapore, and Hong Kong expressed interest in carrying her line. As she fielded questions from reporters, Zara spotted James Cho watching from the sidelines, Evan beside him. When the press dispersed, they approached. Impressive adaptability, James commented, though the relocated space was unfortunate. Yes, quite a coincidence, Zara replied coolly. Perhaps you should reconsider my offer, James suggested. These inconveniences could become more frequent. Jinho stepped forward, his voice low. Threatening my fiancé is unwise, Cho. Not a threat, James smiled. A business reality. The fashion industry can be so unpredictable. Evan smirked. Just like dating. Zara met James's gaze directly. Mr. Cho, let me be clear. I will never partner with someone who uses intimidation as a business strategy. And Mr. Whitaker, she turned to Evan. Your involvement in this petty vendetta is pathetic. James's expression hardened. You've made a powerful enemy, Ms. Williams. No, Jinho corrected. She's revealed one. That night, Zara couldn't sleep. The confrontation with James and Evan had left her uneasy. She slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Jinho, and went to the kitchen for tea. She was surprised to find his grandmother already there, hands wrapped around a steaming cup. Sit, the old woman said in English. Trouble mind needs tea. Zara sat across from her as she poured a second cup. Thank you. The Chas, the grandmother stated. They cause problems. Yes, Zara admitted. They're trying to hurt my business to get at Jinho. The old woman nodded. Old tactic. Attack what man loves. Make him react without thinking. I won't let Jinho resort to violence, Zara said firmly. The grandmother studied her face. You think violence only comes from fists? Words, business, money. All can be weapons. I know, but my husband built this family with hard choices, the old woman continued. Sometimes hands stay clean, sometimes not. But always, family protected. She reached across the table, her weathered hand covering Zara's. You are family now. We protect. I want to protect myself, Zara insisted. My way. The grandmother smiled. Good. Strong woman makes strong family. She sipped her tea. But remember, when Tiger comes to your door, sometimes you need more than clever words. The next morning, Zara woke to dozens of missed calls and messages. Something was wrong. She opened her email to find a barrage of inquiries from fashion blogs and industry publications, all asking for comment on the same thing: photos circulating online showing her designs being produced in a sweatshop with child workers. These are fake, she gasped, showing Jinho the images. I've never manufactured anything like this. Jinho's expression was grim as he examined the photos. Sophisticated manipulation. They've superimposed your labels onto sweatshop images. This could destroy everything I've built, Zara whispered. My entire brand is based on ethical production. The Chos have crossed a line, Jinho said, his voice dangerously quiet. I need to respond immediately, Zara said, already drafting a statement. And I need to prove these are forgeries. While Zara worked with her team to address the false allegations, Jinho made calls. By afternoon, digital forensics experts had confirmed the images were manipulated, and Zara had published a comprehensive breakdown of her actual manufacturing process, including video tours of her production facilities. But the damage was spreading. #BoycottCW Designs was trending. Barnett's called, concerned about customer complaints. The sustainable fashion community, her community, was in uproar. This ends now, Jinho said that evening, reaching for his coat. Where are you going? Zara asked, alarmed by his expression. To speak with James Cho. Jinho, no. Violence won't solve this. Who said anything about violence? His smile was cold. I'm going to negotiate. I'm coming with you, Zara insisted. Absolutely not. This is my business, my reputation. I won't be sidelined. They argued for several minutes before Jinho finally relented. Stay behind me at all times, he instructed. And if I tell you to leave, you leave. No questions. The Cho Group headquarters occupied a sleek tower in downtown Seoul. Despite the late hour, lights still burned in the executive offices. Security recognized Jinho immediately, their expressions shifting from professional detachment to wary alertness. Mr. Park, the head security officer said cautiously, do you have an appointment? James is expecting me, Jinho replied with confidence he couldn't possibly have. Remarkably, they were escorted to the elevator and up to the executive floor. James was indeed in his office, reviewing documents when they entered. Park, he said, unsurprised. And Ms. Williams, this is unexpected. Is it? Jinho asked. You attack my fiancé's business with fabricated images, and you don't expect a response? James leaned back in his chair. Serious allegations. Do you have proof of my involvement? We both know how this works, Jinho said. No direct connections, just results. Why? Zara asked, stepping forward. What do you gain by destroying my reputation? James studied her. Business is rarely personal, Ms. Williams. But sometimes, lessons must be taught about choosing the wrong allies. This ends now, Jinho stated. Or what? James interrupted. Violence? In my office? How predictable. No, Zara interjected. Not violence. Exposure. Both men turned to her. I've been researching the Cho Group's business practices, she continued. The designers you've exploited, the contracts you've manipulated, the workers in your partner factories who aren't paid living wages. James's expression remained neutral, but his eyes hardened. Everyone has skeletons, Ms. Williams, including your fiancé's family. The difference, Zara said, is that Jinho is working to change his family's methods. You're doubling down on yours. And now, Jinho added, we have documentation of your direct involvement in creating and distributing defamatory images. My legal team is prepared to file charges, unless we reach an understanding. James's eyes narrowed. What kind of understanding? You retract the false images, issue a public statement clearing Zara's name, and you stay away from her business permanently. And in return? The Park family won't oppose your expansion into the European market, Jinho said. And certain documentation about your labor practices remains private. A tense silence filled the room as James considered the offer. Finally, he nodded. Acceptable terms. The retraction will be issued by morning. One more thing, Zara added. Your association with Evan Whitaker ends now. James raised an eyebrow. The marketing executive? He's hardly important. He's a loose end, Jinho explained. And we're tying up all loose ends. As they left the building, Zara exhaled shakily. I can't believe that worked. It worked because you found leverage, Jinho said, pride evident in his voice. You fought smart, not hard. We fought together, she corrected. Your way and mine. The retraction came as promised. Fashion publications reported that the sweatshop images had been conclusively proven fake. Barnett's issued a statement supporting Zara's ethical practices. The crisis passed. 2 days later, as they prepared to return home, Jinho's grandmother presented Zara with a small wooden box. Family treasure, she explained as Zara opened it to reveal a jade pendant on a gold chain. For bride who brings new strength to old family. Tears pricked Zara's eyes as the old woman fastened it around her neck. Thank you. You protect my grandson's heart, the grandmother said. I protect your place in family. The wedding preparations accelerated upon their return. Zara designed her own dress, incorporating elements of both Korean and Jamaican traditions. Jinho worked with her father to blend cultural ceremonies. Maya and Sumin became unlikely friends, collaborating on pre-wedding celebrations. 3 weeks before the wedding, Zara was working late at her studio when she received a text from an unknown number. Your parents look peaceful sleeping. 24 Maple Street, right? Would be a shame if something disturbed them. Attached was a photo of her parents' house, clearly taken that night. Her hands shaking, Zara called Jinho, who arrived at the studio within minutes. We're going to your parents now, he said after seeing the message. Minjun is already on his way there. When they arrived, they found Minjun standing guard outside. All clear, he reported. Your parents are safe sleeping. I've arranged for security to remain in place. Zara's parents were shaken but resilient when told about the threat. Her father insisted they could handle themselves, but agreed to Jinho's security team watching the house. This has gone too far, Jinho said as they drove back to their apartment. First your business, now your family. It has to be Evan, Zara said. James wouldn't break our agreement so quickly. Unless Evan's acting alone now, Jinho suggested. A rejected man with wounded pride can be dangerous. The next morning, Zara made a decision. I'm going to confront Evan directly. Absolutely not, Jinho objected. He's targeting me because I humiliated him, Zara insisted. This started with me, and I'll finish it. After hours of debate, they reached a compromise. Zara would meet Evan in a public place of her choosing. Jinho and Minjun would be nearby but unseen. Zara chose an upscale restaurant, not a Toria, but similar. Neutral ground with witnesses. She arrived early, selecting a table with clear sightlines to all exits. Evan arrived looking smug, his expensive suit a stark contrast to the coldness in his eyes. I was surprised to hear from you, he said, sliding into the seat across from her. Let's skip the pretense, Zara replied. I know you sent that text about my parents. Prove it, he smirked. I don't need to. This ends now, Evan. Whatever vendetta you're pursuing stops today. Or what? His voice hardened. Your Korean gangster boyfriend will threaten me again? I'm not afraid anymore. I have protection now. James Cho has already agreed to stop targeting me, Zara informed him. You're on your own. Something flickered in Evan's eyes. Uncertainty. Perhaps fear. You're lying. Call him, Zara challenged. Ask him about our agreement. Evan's confidence wavered visibly.